Welcome to the Costa Property Podcast, the podcast that turns your dreams of owning a piece of paradise on the Costa del Sol into reality.
I'm Benalmadena, and I'm joined by my co-host and wife, Sandra Laurie.
If you're dreaming of your perfect Costa del Sol home, wondering where to start, and want to get real, no-frills expert advice, then you're absolutely in the right place. Hello, good morning. Hola, buenos dias. Hey, Warner.
Hey, Sandra, how are you?
Well, I was fine up until 5 minutes ago until you started to tell me how impatient I am. How are you?
Fantastic. The weather's beautiful outside, so another great day in the Costa del Sol.
Amazing. So I'm really excited to dive into today's episode. I just know it's just going to be an amazing one. We're joined by a really special guest. His name is Pablo. Pablo is going to dive into an amazing topic, which is all circulated around Spanish ferias, fiestas, festivals. We're going to jump into all things Spanish culture and traditions, which is probably one of the best things actually about living in Spain, right, Warner?
Amazing. They love their fiestas and their siestas. So it's going to be an amazing episode.
Yeah, I feel really privileged to be able to really observe and participate in the traditions that are really embedded as part of life in Spain. So I'm really excited to dive into today's topic, and I hope our listeners can really get a sense of what it feels like to be immersed in Spanish life. But before we do that, and before we dive into today's episode, Warner, please tell me what the Spanish word of the day is.
Okay, Sandra, the Spanish word of today is verano.
Okay, so verano is the Spanish word for summer. So tell me why you've chosen that word for today.
It might be beautiful outside, Sandra, but it's freezing. There's a cold wind all the way from the Sierra Nevada. So I need some verano for some sunshine and some heat.
Amazing. Let's jump into today's episode. And please stay tuned until the end where we talk about some controversial Spanish traditions. Okay, so today I am super excited to be joined by Pablo. Pablo is going to really talk about all things Spanish culture and tradition for us today, which I'm really intrigued to dive into. Before we do that, tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, Sandra. Thank you for having me here. So, as you said, I'm Pablo. I am from Seville, but I got a house in Benalmadena. That's how somehow we met. I'm a data analyst and a digital nomad, so I travel and work all around the world and do my few pit stops in Spain every year.
Amazing. So you're from Seville?
Yeah, exactly.
How did you find then the Costa del Sol, or how did you come to purchase a property here?
So in my case, it was more an investment decision. Well, I've been in Malaga many times before. And in Benalmadena, concretely, I had a friend that used to live there. So I've been there and enjoyed there. Like for an investment, in my case, with the budget I had, I thought Costa del Sol will be the best decision for me. And that's why I didn't thought about Seville on the first place.
Good. Congratulations on your recent purchase. And I know that I think you purchased your property from Warner, from WL Costa Properties. So how was the purchasing experience with Warner?
It was very good. Like just with Warner, it went very good because at that time I was already 1 month looking, like very seriously looking. And at that time also I was working in Ireland. So I was living and working in Ireland for many years. So I was considered not as, when it came to buy, I wasn't considered as a Spanish national, but as a foreigner, like EU citizen kind of. So I was very surprised that especially in Costa del Sol, it was super easy. Like most of the banks speak English. In my case, that wasn't needed, but they understand all the documents in English. That was my case, is like showing them my taxes and how I earn and blah, blah, blah. And then with Warner, it was very easy because at the time I was looking for many things. And I don't know who gave me his contact, but he was like, okay, I think with the description you have for investment, I think I have one thing that might fit your expectation and your budget. So I went to the place. It was just basically what I wanted. So I got it. I think I did the first down payment in a week or something. He helped me also with the sellers because I had to negotiate some things. So very good from Warner's side, I have to say.
Amazing. And at the moment you're based in Bali, right?
Yeah, in Indonesia.
Fantastic, fantastic. And you mentioned that you're a digital nomad and that gives you the flexibility to like travel to stunning locations like Bali in Indonesia. Tell us a little bit about your experience as a digital nomad.
It's been great so far, I have to say. Actually, I started this journey last year. So it's not that I am a senior digital nomad, so I just figuring out my life. But my wife and I, we used to work in tech in Dublin. So I was working in TikTok, she was working in Google. And at one point, we wanted to do just a life change. So she started her own company. I got a fully remote job, and we started traveling all around. So we came first to Bali because it's like the capital of the digital nomads, we can say. Mm-hmm. So just to see the vibe, to see the community, people that wanted to have a similar life as us. And we absolutely love it. We absolutely love it. We came for 1 month, we extend another month, and then we will travel around Southeast Asia. Here we are back again.
Incredible, incredible. I'm super intrigued by that lifestyle, and I follow a lot of content online by people that have that flexibility and freedom. But today, I specifically invited you today because I want to talk more about Spanish culture. And the reason for that is our listeners have been asking us to talk about more things related to Spanish culture and traditions. And I'm really excited to dive into your perspectives. And I guess my first question that I want to talk to you about is really, why are your fiestas, ferias, festivals, why are they so important to life in Spain?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Not a philosopher, but I have a view on the Spanish society. So I think Spanish society is mostly an extrovert Mediterranean country and nation, most of the country, because not the whole country is Mediterranean. And that means that somehow like music, good food, good wine, dancing is a big part of the national identity. And then Spain, at the same time, is a very old nation. It's a very old Christian and historical nation. So there is like many good days to celebrate. So you mix the both of them. Like all these days, we have something to celebrate. It's like a very good excuse to bring all the Mediterranean extrovert vibes we have, just to feel a good sense of identity and bring together the community and enjoy ourselves.
It's incredible. And I think as an expat, somebody that's not from Spain that lives here, I find it such a privilege to be able to witness and participate in the different traditions, especially ferias. So can you describe a little bit for our listeners around what is a feria? And if somebody was to visit Malaga, for example, around the Feria de San Juan, what could they expect?
Okay, but this is two different things. So we have the Ferias and San Juan. It's a different festivity. But we can dive in San Juan. San Juan is one of my favorite actually in Spain. So it's a festivity that is on 24 of June, just to mark the first day of summer. So it's the longest day in the year. And if someone is willing to come to Malaga, they can expect like bonfires, barbecue in the beach, a lot of festivals and concerts all around the city. Cities full of streets full of people just like enjoying themselves, chilling, having wine, having food. Like it's very easy to meet people also on those days because everyone is so open, like just going to the street just for the fun. So this is what I will expect from San Juan.
It's wonderful to be able to go to the beach and, as you say, just everybody there together. There's a tradition, I think, where I know I've done it myself a few times, where you walk into the sea at midnight and make a wish and come back out. So it's like wonderful to see everybody participate in that.
And then we have ferias that is mostly for south of Spain. So ferias originated in Seville, in my home city, I believe, because it was like a place. It was like a fair to sell cattle back in the medieval age. And someone thought it was a good idea to put a bar in there and bring a guitar. Like when I label to my international friends, I say it's like a flamenco festival, but it's really changed from place to place. But what you can expect if you are someone that are coming to Feria for first time in Seville or in Malaga, what you can expect is a huge city inside of the city. They make a special place for the feria to happen. This whole place gets very flamenco decorations. People is dancing sevillanas and other types of flamenco and dancing in general, like drinking, chilling themselves, going around. There is also normally on the week of the feria is when the bullfighting happen in those cities. And there will be also many horse activities for people who like horses.
It's lovely to see the different ferias taking place. I know in Benalmadena it's in June, and it's just like the town comes to life. It's wonderful. As well as ferias, there's, many other traditions, festivals. For example, soon we will have Semana Santa, which is Easter week. For people that are not familiar with Semana Santa, it's personally one of my favorites. Tell me a little bit about Semana Santa from your point of view.
Oh, I have my story with Semana Santa. I didn't like it when I was a teenager, but now I love it. Maybe because I was grown in Spain, so I took it for granted. But yeah, it's like, of course, Easter week has a Catholic and Christian root, while how I see now is a mix between a cultural tradition. I would say now is more a cultural tradition with Catholic and Christian roots. Like San Juan, it's also, we are celebrating San Joan the Baptist at the same time. So I like it a lot. So it's like, for someone that never was there, it's like a parade portraying different phases of the last days of Jesus. So people carry the images and they are like beautifully designed, most of them from 3 or 4 centuries ago, and they are still kept, and you have the music, and then you have the incense. So they make like some smells in the city. I don't know how to say in English.
The incense, the incense. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And then what you have in many cities, like in Seville, for example, so Seville is full of orange trees. So where Easter week is the blooming week. And it's happened similarly in Malaga, in the places where there are a lot of orange trees. So the full street will smell like this. It's very beautiful, very traditional, very with a strong Catholic Christian root. And most of the people who participate actively in those parades, they are Catholics. But my grandpa used to say, he wasn't from Seville, he immigrated to Seville, and he used to say, Seville is a very strange place because everyone believes in the Virgin, but nobody believes in God. With this kind of tradition, you can see the mix between people who are like really Catholic and people who believe in the tradition, everything.
Yeah, it's from my perspective, I'm from Ireland, so I would say there's some similarities there in terms of how we view Easter week and how we choose to celebrate the last days of Jesus. Ireland being very like Spain with very strong Catholic roots, but not being from Spain and coming and witnessing Semana Santa for the first time, it was just incredible. And I think what really struck me is it's families of all ages coming together. So you will see small little children walking with their grandparents in the streets, dressed in their special uniforms for the festivities, all being together. And there's something really special about that. And the other thing that has really struck me this year, I've moved house recently and I'm living very close to an area where they're practicing the music for the upcoming parades. And every day for hours, the precision, the dedication that goes into bringing this to life every year. I think there's something really special about that. So what other festivals would you recommend or do you think are, of significant importance in Spain?
So regarding festival or days that I enjoy the most, well, Feria I would say, is my favorite by far. And we speak about that. San Juan is a big one, also I enjoy. My wife is from Barcelona. A day I love there is La Merced, which is a day in September. And it's a day when women get roses and guys get books, or you can mix it together. And the streets, again, it's just full of people wandering around. There is the town hall put a lot of concerts around. It's just a day to spend outdoor. But when we talk about why fiestas are important in Spain, because you mentioned you are from Ireland, I used to live there. I think a big difference between Ireland and Spain is that Spain is, because of a weather thing, Spain is a very outdoor country. So all these fiestas days, they are meant for you to be outside with family and friends, just all enjoying together.
And then in Spain, at Christmas time, the Three Kings are celebrated instead of, Christmas Day, where and a lot of our listeners would be from countries where Christmas Day is more significant than Three Kings. Tell us a little bit about the Three Kings in Spain and what happens in Spain typically around the Christmas period.
Yeah, so the Three Kings, they came from the three wise men. I don't know why, but some European countries, they pick the 24th, like the Christmas Day, as the big day. But I know also Russia and Ukraine and some Eastern Europe countries, they have also the Three Kings. So I don't know why, but Three Kings happen also in January. And Three Kings will be very similar to Santa Claus, if you want to see this way. So it's the day when the kids get the presents, and it's where the families get together to have lunch or dinner and get the presents during the night. And Christmas time, it will be, again, a good time, especially to get together with family and friends. There are also a lot of parades all around Spain where you can get like free gifts in the street. And Christmas is, depending on the festivity, you will have a specific food for the day. So that's another part. I kind of miss it. And also a specific music. So in Christmas, you will have all the villancicos, which is the like Christian sings that are very catchy, or at least I love them for the Christmas time. While in Feria, you have the more flamenco part. So I don't know if there is anything specific, but you will see like many Spanish guitars. Yeah.
And the Three Kings, I feel it like extends Christmas. So in Spain, 24th, Christmas Eve, is a significant day where you see a lot of families grouping together to eat in the evening. And then, for us, we still celebrate Christmas Day. But then my children, because they go to Spanish school and they're very integrated into Spanish life, they also want to celebrate something on Three Kings, and go to the parades which take place in the streets, the night of San Juan. And that's also beautiful because, there's lots of sweets and candies being distributed to the children, and it's a lot of fun for them. So I think just when it comes to all of the different, traditions, like I guess Semana Santa, Three Kings. What I also love about Spain and the different traditions is it's so inclusive for children to participate. When being from Ireland, as I've said, we have St. Patrick's Day, which is our patron saint, but it tends to be, and I would probably be in trouble for saying this, there tends to be a big association around, alcohol and going out to the bar and spending time with your friends, which is not always that inclusive for children. But in Spain, everything is for the families, for the children to participate, which I think is amazing when you live here as well.
Oh, that's interesting insight. I never realized. After the Friends and Patrick was one of my favorite dates in Ireland when I was living there.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh my God.
A lot of
just
fun.
A happy day. People is so happy in the street. It's a good day.
That's true. Okay, so let's talk about something a little bit controversial, if that's okay with you. It's around bullfighting. So bullfighting is a tradition in Spain, and an older tradition. But, how is it viewed locally these days, especially by the younger generations?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's very controversial, as you say. Bullfighting, the tradition is one of the few traditions in Spain that are not with Catholic roots. So this came from the very most of the Mediterranean nations, they used to have rituals or different plays or games with bulls, like the Greeks or the Mesopotamian, and this somehow stay in Spanish culture, and then the Romans make a spectacle out of it, and it's still alive nowadays. Is like my view have been changing with the years. So, for example, last year was the first year I went for bullfighting to see the bullfighting. And it was with a foreigner friend that came to Ferias in Seville, and he asked me about bullfighting. And I was like, I've never been very controversial, but why not? Like, I thought I would like it, even though I never went because it was controversial, but I actually end up enjoying it a lot. But I can see why it's controversial, because at the end of the day, it's a festival that ends up with an animal kill. And the whole festival is around killing an animal in a style, we can say. But yeah, I guess 2,000 years ago, when they thought about traditions, they didn't have our current point of views on animals' rights, if we can say. But yeah, I have to say, I wasn't open to go in general in my life, but I was like, okay, let's leave it there because it's an old tradition. I thought my view on it will be a tradition that will die at one point, because it was more like my grandparents. Like my grandparents, they used to love bullfighting. They used to go a lot. But then I end up going there and I enjoy so much. There is like most of the Spanish fiestas, there is a dress code or a specific dress you can do. There is a specific food you do. So after the bullfighting, you go to the nearby restaurants and you can have cola de toro, which is the tail of the bull. And it's a very delicious thing. And they normally do it from the bulls they kill in the arena. And then during the bullfighting itself, there is also, while the bullfighter is bullfighting, there is music happening. So yeah, I was very impressed. It's also, so in my case, it was in Seville and is where the sunset is happening. So it's it's before the evening. So the colors of the sky and everything looks very good. And the bullfighting is very impressive. It feels like to see the bull and then the little human there. And then also when they killed the bull, it was very impressive to me too. But not in a good way. It wasn't like, I eat meat, but I don't want to see the machines killing the chickens. I just want to see it directly in the supermarket. So yeah, it was a bit impressive to me. But yeah, overall, it was a very good experience. I think I will repeat this year too. And another thing I was very surprised is that it was very full of young people, actually. So at least in the section I bought the tickets, that was the cheapest one, of course. So it was like full of like people in their 20s, and most of them, or the people that were next to me that I was asking, not most of them, but half of them. So it was the first time they were going, like just like me, just giving it a try and see why it's so controversial, this tradition.
How do you think young people view it in Spain?
I think it will be a very polarized thing. So if you came from a conservative background, it will be a tradition that you might not be open to go, but you would like it to survive. That was my case. But then if you came from a progressive family, you might be more on the let's shut this down legally. So not allow people to run it anymore. I think those are the two views. But it's more like a left and right topic, like many other political topics in Spain. Right? You can explain it just with this.
And I find it so interesting that, your perspective was really changed by experiencing it, that you were reserved, I guess, before you attended, but being able to experience the tradition and kind of encompass the environment and the atmosphere, it was very different than what you expected. So that's really what I'm hearing. And that's really interesting. Just because I'm curious, like when it comes to popularity, is the attendance to the bullfighting events still very good? Or because you hear rumors that, it's dwindling, it's not as popular. When you were attending, did you witness that it was full? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's also because the one in Seville is very popular. So for example, just to put you in context, when I was Erasmus, back in the time, I met a good friend. He was Mexican. So I met this guy again in Seville last year in the bull ring because he was coming. I used to have him in Facebook, but never in Instagram. So we never kept into contact. He likes bullfighting in Mexico, and then he was coming just to Seville for it. So Seville one was like this level of food.
That is such a coincidence. Yeah. Wow.
It's also bullfighting transcends a bit. It's like, well, it's not like football, but it used to be like football. So it's not only the spectacle around it and the TV show and blah, blah, but there is also the bullfighters. They are also in the yellow press. So they used to date famous people. So I think that it's not only, so it's a spectacle business at one point. So it's not only the 1 week you can go to the arena. So I don't think this is the only economic engine of the business.
Thank you for your views on that. And, I know sometimes it's a topic in Spain I'm a little bit uncertain how to approach because, as we said, it can be considered a little bit controversial. But thank you for sharing your insights.
Just to add another thing, I'm just remembering about it. So I remember I went, but I was talking with my friend, okay, I'm going to go, but I'm not going to post anything of this in social media because I know half of the people that see it will like it. But at the end, I posted but yeah, it will be this level of controversial that if you go, you would like to do it not in silence, but just keep it quiet.
Yeah. But thank you for that. And Pablo, I have one last question for you, if that's okay. And my final question is a question that I ask all of our guests. And the question is, what's your favorite thing about the Costa del Sol?
That's a very good question. So I am a person that likes a lot this kind of paisaje, I don't know the word in English, this kind of environment where you have both the mountains and the sea. So I think in Costa del Sol, you can get this with very good weather year round. So I like a lot hiking. Malaga province, they offer so many crazy hiking, but at the same time, I can go back home and go to the beach, take a swim. I was living in Ireland, so I learned how to do the cold dips in the sea during winter. So the Mediterranean Sea is more forgiving during winter time. So you can go for swim in January. I like I did last month. You have the beach just for yourself, and you go out of the beach and you have the amazing stunning mountains back to the city.
It's a privilege to be able to experience, all that Malaga and the Costa del Sol offers. Well, that's the end of our chat for today. I really appreciate you taking the time all the way from Bali to talk to me about, your perspective and experience of Spanish culture and traditions. It's been so interesting.
Thank you so much for the invite.
I know our listeners will love it too. You have an amazing weekend and we'll speak soon. Thank you so much for listening into today's episode on the Costa Property Podcast. Another fantastic episode learning about the highs and lows of relocating to the Costa del Sol from real people who have been through the journey themselves, and of course our wonderful experts. If you have been enjoying the show so far, remember to hit subscribe to the podcast and leave a rating or review.
We absolutely love hearing your thoughts. Please send any questions that you would like us to answer on the show to warner@wlcostaproperties.net, or you can pop us a message on our socials, which are in the show notes. Remember, you can also visit the website www.wlcostaproperties.net.
See you on the next episode, and bye for now.
Bye-bye.